comes up, takes out a knife, stabs her to death. 14 times he was previously arrested. 4 times. 14 times. He comes up and just stabs her to death. Situations like this are a nearly daily occurrence in our cities. We do not have to live this way. You can create a society and a culture where you can get on a train or a subway and not be Arina Zarutska and get stabbed to death in the neck because some black criminal decides, I'm just going to go do it. 14 times he was previously arrested. And all of the Koch brother-funded liberal criminal justice BS is the reason why guys like him are still on the streets. 14 times. Let's put this back up on screen. And Arina Zarutska, why did she come to America? She was fleeing violence in Ukraine. It turns out it's more dangerous on subways in Charlotte, North Carolina than a war zone in Ukraine.
Ladies and gentlemen, guess who's back on the show? It's Jackson the Hair Hinkle, founder of the independent media outlet The Dive and host of The Dive with Jackson Hinkle. And his program was permanently banned on YouTube for alleged Ukraine misinformation. Of course, they only get mad at you when you give information, but it was recently restored. He has also been banned from Instagram twice. Despite these and other deplatforming efforts, his social media profile has grown to the point where his Twitter account has surpassed 3.6 million followers. Welcome back to the show, Jackson Hinkle. Jackson, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on. I will say we started a new show now. The YouTube banned us. I have a new show called Legitimate Targets, and I have my main account on YouTube. But they never restored my old account. They did it for some people, most people, I think. But for me, they said, you're not getting your old account back. So it made me start from scratch. It's crazy.
Well, here was the big news. Google admits censorship under Biden, promises to end bans of YouTube accounts of thousands of Americans censored for political speech. Now, you were censored for political speech, but they're not restoring your account.
I guess not. I don't know. I guess COVID is okay to talk about now. Elections are okay to talk about, but
Ukraine still not.
Yes.
They still don't want to hear the truth about Ukraine. That's a big problem.
I think so. I think it's also, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but I was banned from YouTube one day after the Al-Aqsa flood, October 8th, 2023. I was banned. And I was unbanned the day that the ceasefire went into effect, about 12 days ago. I thought that was a little bit odd.
Wow, that is a little bit odd. So everybody said, so is your show, what's your channel called now? Is it called Legitimate Targets?
I've got two, Jackson Hinkle Official and Legitimate Targets with Jackson Hinkle. And the second one, we got a bunch of big interviews we just dropped with Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson, with Denis Kucinich, Peter Kuznick. I want to have you on again, so we got to make it happen.
Okay, I'll definitely make that happen. No problem. So have you been in contact with anybody at YouTube? Has anybody talk? I have a liaison. Do you have a liaison?
Yeah, they messaged me on Twitter, and I said, what's going on? You brought back people's channels who said very, very, bad things, egregious violations of the community guidelines that YouTube claims to uphold. But why not mine? And they just gave me some standard corporate response saying, oh, we understand your frustration, but basically be thankful that you have YouTube back, which I am. I am thankful that I am allowed back on the platform. So it is what it is.
So you got to start from scratch.
Yes, but it's been growing pretty quick. Both channels are doing well. I've live streamed 4 times. I live streamed an hour ago. And there's no shortage of news to cover right now between Venezuela, Russia, Middle East. So I think it's going to do all right.
Well, let me just ask you about this one here. So this was your live stream you just did. Iran in full alert. Iran in full war alert amid Israeli threats. So what can you tell us about Iran being on full war alert?
Well, there was a summit that was supposed to take place next week in Tehran, hosting a bunch of social media influencers and independent journalists. Pepe Escobar was another person who was supposed to attend this event, and they canceled the event. The Iranians did. And the reason why was war preparation. and war readiness. That's what was given to the attendees. So apparently all of the IRGC commanders are in bunkers right now. This is from sources in Iran. They're all preparing for this. I was invited to a meeting with President Pezeshkian, the Iranian president, in New York City at the United Nations a few weeks ago. I obviously wasn't there. I'm in Moscow. I was in Africa during that meeting. But apparently at the meeting, he said another war is coming. Israel's going to launch another war. And he feels as though they're going to target him, in addition to many civilians and military and political officials. So I think this is coming. There was also a major intelligence report that was just released from Ismail Khatib, who's the intelligence minister in Iran. And he just exposed that 50 countries participated in espionage activities against Iran during the 12-day war, including Turkey, who's their neighbor, and many Arab countries who are supposed to support Palestine and those who defend Palestine. So things are heating up, and it's not looking good.
What do you make of that? What do you make of that, Turkey and the other Gulf states turning on Iran in that way?
Well, they're all cowards. I mean, you know as well as I do that Turkey provides lion's share of Israeli oil. It's Azerbaijani oil that travels through Turkish pipelines each and every year. Erdogan always comes out and talks about how he stands with Palestine. But if you stand with Palestine, why are you going to supply the Zionist entity with, I think it's like 40% of their annual oil consumption? Doesn't make any sense. And for the Gulf countries, these Arab states, Arab states excluding Yemen, they're all ready for normalization. I think they are chomping at the bit for normalization. And if it wasn't for the ultra deranged policies of Smotrich and Gavir, I think we might actually have seen it by now. But it's not surprising to me at all.
So, a lot of people said that it wasn't over. The 12-day war wasn't the end of it. That they had just kind of run out of munitions. In fact, and in fact, Ukraine thought that the United States was sending all its munitions to Israel. Israel thought we were sending all our munitions to Ukraine, and they were angry at it. But the United States just kind of ran out of munitions to supply them, and so the talk was that Israel was just waiting to rebuild and restock their munitions, and then they're going to attack Iran again. Do you think that was the plan? Is that what you think?
Yeah, I think you got it right. I think also, well, they have new THAAD systems in Israel now. The U.S. dropped those there.
What are THAAD systems?
THAAD systems, THAAD interceptor missiles. Israel has a series of layers of air defense systems. This is one part of it. But they're very costly. The U.S. doesn't have a lot of them. I think we've dumped almost our whole supply into Israel now over the past 12 months. But, Israel, it doesn't matter if they have these. It doesn't matter if they have their Iron Dome. It doesn't matter what other layers they have. Iran humiliated Israel, and they only, according to the IRGC, used about 25% of the technologies that they possess in their missile arsenal. So Iran did a number on them, obviously. I think it would be very foolish for Israel to start another war. But that leads to the question, why would you start another war? If you think about it, if Iran is dealing Israel more than a bloody nose in a potential second war, and Israel feels threatened in a meaningful way, you can imagine how that could lead to a situation where Israel justifies the use of nuclear weapons on Iran, which would be their dream scenario, to be able to justify the use of nuclear bombs on Tehran and other major Iranian cities. I think that's a real possibility. I wouldn't put it out of the realm of what could happen here.
That Israel would be the first one to use a nuke.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's unclear whether Iran has a nuke. I think they should have a nuke as a means of deterrent, not to use one, but to be able to do what North Korea does. No one wants to invade North Korea. No one wants to invade Russia or China, for that matter, because they are strong and can defend themselves. Iran, they have very strong missiles, but of course, the question is what happens if Israel decides that they're going to make that final decision to deal a total blow, a devastating blow to Iran. The Iranians don't have anything that they could potentially use as a deterrent against them. But Iran also had a lot of problems they had to deal with in that war. I mean, they were caught off by surprise at the start. They had a bunch of internal attacks from Assad operatives, mostly Afghan migrants and refugees that were in the country. And as I just mentioned, they had 50 different countries. I can't even imagine 50 countries conspiring with Mossad to attack them via intelligence networks. So I think they're getting their house in order. Israel's doing the same. And it could be a very big blow here soon.
Just like most people don't know that Israel has a thing called the Hannibal Directive, which means that if they think one of their citizens or any of their citizens will be taken hostage, they kill them. That's the Hannibal Directive. And they killed them. Probably more people were killed on October 7th by the Israeli military than were killed by Hamas. That's and you know, if you saw those burned out cars, those were done that the guys in hang gliders, Hamas guys in hang gliders didn't do that. That was done by I think it was you know, Apache helicopters or
yes.
that from the Israeli Air Force, right? And then they had tanks. They shot tank mortars into houses, and so they did everything they could to kill their own people to avoid them from being. So they also have a thing called the Samson doctrine. Can you tell people what that is?
Yes, the Samson option is if Israeli statehood, the survival of Israel itself, is threatened by any foreign actor, Israel reserves the right to target any of their allies or any foreign actor, aggressors, if they feel as though they're not being supported enough by the United States and their other allies. They can target them with a nuclear bomb. So if Iran is on the verge of, you know, I guess, preventing the future survival of Israel, Israel could say, United States, if you're not going to do what needs to be done, if you're going to block us from defending ourselves, we'll nuke you as well.
So the Samson option is the option to take everybody down. If Israel is on the verge of losing a war, or if the sovereignty or the life of the Israeli state is threatened in a serious way, they then will start nuking everybody. And so that's like a threat to, you better come and help us, right? That's what that is.
It's like the genocidal nuclear equivalent of you're losing in Monopoly and you just turn the table over, I think. But that's a real thing. It's a real thing, and they could do it, I guess. And Trump this week, I have no doubt that Trump is completely, you know, controlled by them, and also I think in many ways controls them for the U.S. Goals in the region. But Trump this week did say that he would threaten to cut all Israeli aid if they annex the West Bank. I don't know why he drew the line at annexing the West Bank. That apparently, you know, murdering 70,000 civilians wasn't enough to piss him off, but annexing the West Bank is something Trump has claimed to draw the red line at. And even though I don't necessarily believe him that he'd cut off all aid, I do think it's the first time an American president has said something like that publicly.
That he would, that there's a circumstance where he would cut off aid to Israel. That's the first time I haven't remember ever hearing a American president saying that. So
yeah, it's another question of whether or not we believe that. But to even say that is kind of a, you know, you're asking to end up like JFK, I think, if you say something like that. We'll see.
Actually, I want to play. Can you stick around? I have a segment set up for this West Bank and next thing. Can you stick around for it?
Of course, I'd love to.
Over to Steph.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's see what this Andy Griffith said. I'm sorry, I can't get past her social autopsy docs website. I hate a lot of what Trump is doing, but I don't trust her. She's saying what is hip in the right wing right now. She is a chameleon. Are you talking about Candace, Andrew? Thank God we finally have a peace president. Boy, B-man. I read what Candace said, and she didn't blame them, but she didn't absolve him of all guilt because it is his FBI.
Oh, definitely.
That's supposed to be investigated. The murder, you know. All right, B-Man, thank you for that. Once I get you inside control, it's just a matter of if I'm gonna Kimura or Americana. Or you might just find yourself in Peruvian necktie. Unvaccinated guy. Kimura. I don't know what Kimura is. Das amazing. That's from Andrew. Candace will say anything for press. Remember, she got her start creating a doxing website. Then suddenly she was red-pilled. Andy Griffith. Juanita. Thank you, Juanita. Keep boycotting Israel. Knows Mata. Akram. Thank you, Akram. Jimmy, you were the best guest ever on Jesse Lee Peterson's show. I fell off the couch laughing.
I didn't see it. I didn't know it got released. Thanks. I checked his channel. I didn't see it.
I'm over 60 and I find myself agreeing with the under 30s. Original old gringo. Did you know that October 14th is also George Floyd's birthday? Juan Morales. I didn't know that. Oh my goodness. Casey's Bar Malta Fub. When are you coming back to Stockholm? Bring Kurt with you next time. Oh, that would be fun. I agree. Thank you, Casey's Bar, Malta Pub. Flick off. Crowder has worn more dresses than Hillary Clinton. Okay. Oh, you know what? Trucker eyes. Hold on. Let's give you trucker eyes. Hold on. Let's make this happen. Gifted 50 subscriptions to the Jimmy Dore Show.
Oh,
what's going on, Trucker Eyes?
Get out of here, Trucker Eyes.
How's thoughtful. All right, back to Jim.